All right, we're going to go over creating type studies. So we are in InDesign, and we just have our page set up with 4 columns. We're going to go ahead and make sure we're in the typography workspace, which we are. So you want to make sure you're in the typography workspace. And then this will give you everything that is that you need. Here you have the pages, the layouts. Oops, let me open up my chat. I see someone's. I use 8.5 is the height and 5.5 is the width for the size of the page. And I'm just doing 2 pages because I just need 2 pages to work on my type studies. So what I'm going to do is go to my type tool, which is the capital T, just like it is in Illustrator. The difference between Adobe Illustrator and InDesign is I can't just click and start typing. It doesn't work that way in InDesign. You have to, everything has to be in a frame. So I have to click and drag out a frame. And so I'm dragging it out to the edges of my columns. So I copied my copy from Joseph. I'm using Joseph's manifesto. And I'm going to go Command or Control V. Oop, V. Oh, did it not copy? Okay, I think I did something in between. Let me grab his again. Hold on a second. Let's grab all of that. Copy. There it is. Okay. So here is, and I can pull down. Okay, so there's a couple things. I can pull this down, my type box, and then I can see all of the copy I've added. I can also, I want to see where I have hard returns. And so I'm going to select all my copy and I'm going to go up to type and I'm going to say show hidden characters. When I do that, I want you to see that now everywhere there's a hard return in this blue, there's a paragraph symbol. You see that? Everywhere Joseph has put a hard return. Also, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see that. Notice how everywhere there's a space, there is a blue dot. So for example, if I had an extra space somewhere, notice how it's going to show me a dot for every space. So I want to make sure that if I'm questioning, is there an extra space there? I can turn on hidden characters and see if I have any extra spaces or double spaces, or if I'm missing a space. So it's really handy. Shows me where every hard return is, and it shows me every space. So I like putting show hidden characters when I'm putting in copy, especially copy from someone else, some copy that I didn't type, or especially if I'm getting it from a client, because a lot of clients like to put in double spaces, or sometimes a lot of clients like to put in lots of hard returns. And then I got to sit there and take them all out because every time there's a hard return, it's making a hole in my copy. So here's this hard return. I can do a second. If I did a second return, it shows it to me. Anything that I have added here, it'll show me those extra returns. So that's super handy. Now, in InDesign, notice how at the bottom of this box, this type frame, there's a little red box. And I'm going to zoom up so you can see it. It's right here. It's right here. And so when I click on this, notice how it loads my cursor with a little block of copy. Because what it's doing is it's letting me take and flow the copy from this column and come up here and make another column. And now I have all the copy. Notice how there's no more red box here. If I shrink this, the red box comes. That's telling me there's more copy in this type frame. So I'm going to pull it down, and now I can see there's no more red box. That means all the copy is visible. Okay, so I have all of Joseph's copy in here. And what's happening is if I can adjust the types, these two different columns, and notice how when I move one, it affects the other. That's because the type is flowing from this left column into the right column, and they're linked. So they're linked, they're working together. If I do one thing over here, it affects over here. And so that no matter what, I won't lose copy if versus having separate boxes of copy that aren't linked. It's really good when you're doing editing or making any changes along the way to have all your copy linked so that it keeps reflowing. Let's say you decide to take a word out or add a word. In the case if this was a newspaper or a magazine, it allows you to keep the type flowing throughout the article. Okay, so those are some key things to be aware of how type boxes work in InDesign. I'm going to click and delete this right column. That doesn't mean I got rid of the text. It's still all here on the left. It's just hidden inside the box. But for type studies, all I need is really a paragraph of copy to work and look at different choices. So I'm going to take off the third draft because that was just his note. We don't need that. Joseph, do you have a title or a headline you're going to be using for this by any chance?
I think maybe I'm just gonna write change on top of it. That's all
Okay.
I've got right now.
Okay. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do what you're going to do, which is just write change. Um, and so what typefaces, I don't, let me see, do you have, let me look at yours. What do you have over here? Um, I'm looking at yours and I see you have Futura, you have Gil Sans. Um, your are these your pairings on the right? Where you're like a headline and a body copy? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't put any body text, so it looks weird.
Okay. So that's right. That's where I want you to kind of do the body text. So like watch what I'm doing here. You're going to do the same thing. So what we're going to do is go ahead and open up our character palette. And so he's using Futura PT Extra Bold as a headline. And so I'm going to do the same because I have that one loaded in my computer. So I'm just going to choose some of the typefaces I know I have loaded. Let's see. And I'm just going to do 2 paragraphs. Turn that. I don't need more than that. Okay. So then I'm going to do just for to use what I have in my system so I don't have to add any more right now. I'm going to do Future PT book. And I am going to take and just copy this out of the body copy. I'm going to move this off. So I just have a smaller amount of text to work with. So here is, so this is just the type. I haven't even played with the type sizes yet. So I've just got my typefaces in. So change is the headline. Now, there's a couple things we can think about it. You have Futura Extra Bold. This is my page size, actually, the page size I'm working with. And I chose that so I could kind of really just see how these paragraphs would look on this page size. So this is it's a half size sheet, as we talked about. This is a half size page. We kind of, where did I put my little paper dummy? I had it here earlier today. I was cleaning up my desk. That's always dangerous because then I don't know where I put things. Where did I put my little paper dummy? Mm, I do not know, but I do know this notebook is the same size. So this is the size, right? This is a half size. So I kind of like to play when I have this small size with scale and my type. So for me, I'm going to be like, what would this look like if I went really big with my headline, especially since Joseph is thinking of using one word. So, I'm thinking of going kind of bold. And then I'm thinking, well, what would that look like? What if, or I can change right now it's all upper title case is what it's called, where we have a capital C and then a lowercase, the rest of the word. I can go in here to type and go change case, and I can make it all uppercase. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't want the extra bold. Maybe I go with book, but make it really big. Sometimes you don't need to be like screaming at people, but I like to play with the scale, and that extra bold can be really loud. Maybe I don't want it quite that loud. So maybe I'm playing with that. And then I'm going to take my body copy and play with size as well. So here's the body copy, and I have it in Futura book, 12 point, which is a little big for reading. 10 is a little bit more common. 9 is also common. Okay. But I don't have a lot of words in my paragraphs. They're kind of not very heavy. So we might want to think about, like, look at the type we have and the words we're working with. We all have different manifestos we've written. So it's kind of good to play with that. Remember, the average difference between your point size and your leading should be around 3 points. So this is 11 point, and I'm making it 11 on 13. Do not make it like 11 on, if you leave it on auto, it automatically wanted to make it 11 on 13.2. Don't do that. That's annoying. Always make it a whole number. So adjust it accordingly. Okay, so here is my my first thought. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm thinking, let me zoom in a little bit and look at it. I wonder if instead of book, I go a little like more medium. Maybe I go 12 because it's pretty, yeah, that feels better. And notice how nothing's hitting, no ascenders or descenders are hitting. So sometimes you can go a little narrower on the spacing. So I'm going to do that. And then that's my first one. And then I'm going to just copy this. And I'm just holding my Shift Command Option, and it allows me to make copies. So I'm going to have 3 copies, and I'm going to do different ideas here. Now I'm going to make some more over here and another one here. Okay. So now I'm going to look at this next one. So, and I'm going to write myself a quick note. Hold on a minute. I'm going to do a quick note up here. This is reminding myself what I have. I have, what is this? Futura Medium 11 on 12. And so the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to say Futura Medium 11 over 12. Hold on. Let's get this. And I'm going to just make that small, like 7 point. And I'm going to put it in the margin so that I can see that that's my note on what size that is. So when I'm looking at these, I can quickly know what I'm doing. So here, this one, I'm going to make this one just for kicks. I'm going to make it 9 on 10, no, 9 on 11. And this one I'm going to make demi. I don't know, let's just look at it a little smaller and heavier. So I'm going to say, go down to my notes down here. This is demi. 9. What did I say this was? 9 on 11. Okay. So I'm going through and I'm just trying different experiences. Now, here's another thing. Right now, I'm doing them all at the same width. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe what I want to do is try one now. What would it look like if I did it in a single column? And then had the second column, the second paragraph in the second column. What does that look like if they're side by side? So let's look at that and then kind of think about, now I'm going to change the typeface. Maybe what else did we have? We had Gil. So maybe here I'm going to go Gil Nova book. What does that look like? And then also looking at things like rag. So sometimes when we get so narrow with our paragraph, what happens is you start getting a lot of hyphens, which you want to avoid, or you get these really kind of what we call them rough rag, where it's really like a big hole. So I'm going to look at my scale. Right now I'm at 11 point. That's pretty big. Let me just select all. And when I select all, it's just selecting everything in this type block. And I'm going to go smaller because I'm going with a smaller column width. So I need to have a smaller type size. And I'm going to say 9 on 11. So I'm going to take my, there, I'm doing them as 2 columns. Let's see, so this is Gil Sans Nova book, 9 on 11. It feels like it could go, like I think that feels good. So let's write our note for what that's going to be. So this is Gil Sans Nova 9. Is it 9 on 11? Yeah, 9 on 11. So, and then I might even say to myself, well, I did this giant change up here. Just, let's try something very different. What if I now make this 24, much, oopsie, much smaller. And it comes here. And maybe now I just want it to be the width of one column. Like I want it, you know, obviously bigger than my body, but it doesn't need to be, like Godzilla sized. I want it to fit now into my column. Remember that blue little mark there is just the hidden character. It's just showing me it's not really there. Everything in blue is invisible. Those are the hidden characters. Okay, so I've changed. So if I go to view or type, sorry, hide hidden characters, all of those go away. Easier to see, so then I can look at that this way. So you know what I mean? So does that make sense? Are we kind of getting the gist of the way you're looking at your type, and then you can keep going and building different ideas?
Yeah, so quick question. I
Yeah,
see that you have the two numbers like 11 over 12 and then 9 over 11.
right.
Could you explain again what that is? I'm guessing one is the font size. What is the other one?
You're
The other
letting.
number?
You're letting. So here on
Okay.
yeah, so that's a good question. Excellent question. So when I select this, if I go here to my character panel, 9 is the point size and
Okay.
11 is the letting.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Tanner, I see your hands up. Go ahead.
I was about to ask like what font size you recommend, but just to make sure, 9 and 11, right? Or I'm lost, sorry.
No worries. So here, I'm going to select this copy again. It's a good question. So right now, I have my point size at 9 and my letting at 11. So 9 over 11 means 9 is the point size. And I'm going to just write that here so we can kind of have that note. So the point size, the font point size is the first number. So I'm going to make this bigger. 9 over 11. This is just going to be an example. So let's zoom in here. So the point size is the first number. Right? Um, I've been working in Illustrator now. I got to think about where my arrowheads are. We'll come back to it. I gotta remember where my arrowheads are in design now. So here's 9, and then the leading. Or what we call line spacing is the second number right there.
Okay.
Okay. So that whenever we're doing it, we always, the first number is always your point size, and the leading and the spacing is always your second number. All right. So that way, and you write your notes, it's just like a little equation, but that's what it means. Point size and leading or line spacing is the second number. And there we go. So if I go, there it is. To add little arrowheads, it's over on the stroke menu. Okay, so leading is the second number and point size is the first number. Okay. So everybody, I'm gonna take a break, and I want you to all work on pulling together is some examples of the paragraph, and it just needs to be a paragraph, and it's the same paragraph. We're just using the same one over and over again because we're looking at all the different things. And I see a lot of you have, so like Joseph on his, let me pull his over. On his, he has like a whole bunch of type spaces he's looking at. But notice how when we just look at this, it's really not helping us make a decision. What we really need to do is set our type, our body copy in that typeface and see how it interacts. Look at the difference in color between Futura and Gill. The Gill is much lighter and Futura is a little heavier face. So just kind of get a feel for Gill 9/11 and Futura 9/11 are very different looking. Here, I'll put them side by side and you can see what I mean. But don't forget to add these little notes about what they are. But you can see how different these two look, and they're the exact same size because every typeface is different and has a different X height and has a different overall tone and manner. Okay, I saw a hand up. Rachel. Yeah, go ahead.
What if you don't have paragraphs and just have short sentence? Should I
Well,
just do
you know what? Just grab like how you're seeing like a few of the sentences in a row. That's fine because you just have short sentences, so that's fine. What you're going to probably think of, and then so what we're doing here is we're first kind of getting our overall basic body copy style, but then we're going to move into metaphors. So like when I think of yours, Rachel, you're probably going to have still a standard body copy size, and then you're going to probably take one word that you're going to become more of your metaphor, and that you might be playing, or you might change the typeface. So remember, when we work on our metaphors and our design for our metaphors, we might be changing the typeface and the size and the spacing and all of that specific for that one word or two words. That's not what we're talking about. This is going to be just our overall, the basic baseline of our body copy of what we're going to do with it.
okay, so nothing yet about bolding certain things in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
okay.
Not for the metaphor work. This is about the overall body copy. The metaphor will be separate. Okay, I'm going to take a pause from sharing my screen